We are back on Morning Line, our final segment this morning with Beverly Watts, Executive Director of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. It's been around since 1963, fighting discrimination in the state. 7,000 complaints a year, and they keep busy with it. But, you know, that's an important thing, I think. Yeah.
And actually, we get 7,000 calls. Not everybody will follow through on finishing up the complaint form. We filed 500 complaints last year. That meant we have to have certain information from the complaining party. And on average, over the last 5 years, we have filed somewhere around 650 complaints every year.
Every year. Based after you vetted through those 7,000.
We vet through the 7,000.
Glad you said that.
Some people might call and says, they treated me badly, it's because I'm black, and I just want to file a case, and we'll ask questions and they never can give us details.
That's just a call, no investigation.
They call, we'll say, we'll send you a complaint form. We never hear back from them. So,
fair enough. Let's go to, and by the way, stick around at the end of the program here. We'll have the 800 number where you can make those calls, as well as a website you can go to. Let's go to Evan. Evan, good morning. Hi, Evan.
Yes, ma'am. You were talking about housing discrimination a few minutes ago. How do you explain where, say, MDHA, like Paulson on Towers, allows pets but not children, but Trevecca Towers allows children, not pets? How is that allowed?
I'm not sure, but one of those could be a 55 and over building, and one might not be. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look at what MDHA's policies are for each of those buildings, and I know they have some towers where they're 55 and older and there are no children, and that's covered under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development programs.
There, as far as you know, except maybe with regard to some service animals, are there any laws on the books with regard to discrimination in terms of pets?
With respect to service animals, animals are animals that are trained to assist individuals with specific tasks. Then there's the issue of support animals, which are animals that are actually, it's like a prescription. You need someone to keep you company, therefore you can have this dog, the chicken. And we've had issues with snakes.
I mean, that's not...
And those are called support animals, and under the law, it is illegal to discriminate against individuals who have valid documentation of their need for a support animal. Support animals are not necessarily trained. You can get certificates off of the internet, but those are not valid. Those are not valid, and so if we get those, we're going to say this is not valid. It has to be from a medical provider. That says you have this need. You see people who, usually service animals have harnesses and things of that. They're usually going to be a dog or a horse. That's what's covered under federal law. Anything else for support animals is very, very different, and it could be anything.
That really has changed, and you're right. You can go online and get this. And look, I understand some people that get nervous. Petting your dog might make you comforted. When I think of certain support animals, the ones that I truly understand, the seeing eye dogs. You know, the ones like that.
Those are service animals.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying. Service animals. I mean, those are the real deal. Or the animals that are with these patients or folks that have seizures, and they can pick up on the seizure. I mean, that's the real deal right there. And I know there's other ones, but if it's, you know, I know there's others that maybe have some mental issues, but unless a doctor gives it to you, just saying, I feel better because I can pet my dog, that's not enough. I'm sorry. You know, you have to have it doctor certified. So
yes. And people can have pets. There's usually a pet fee. If you have a support animal, there is no fee, but you have to have documentation to support the need. And we get a lot of those cases in housing. We get more support animal cases than we'd like to talk about.
Oh, really? Just they're saying they won't allow me to have my animal in here.
Right.
And then you can resolve that fairly quickly. You can say, okay, you say this is it. Do you have documentation from a physician that this is required for you? And if they don't, it's like, well, I'm sorry, moot point.
And if in employment and housing, if someone says they have a need because of their disability, you have to enter in what's called an interactive process. You have to talk to me. You have to find out why I have it, my documentation, and what it is that I need it for, to the extent that I need to share. I don't have to give you all the details, because health laws, I don't have to give you all the details, but I can tell you that I have this statement from my doctor that says I need this, and I need it for a condition I have, whatever that condition might be.
All right, just in our remaining moments, was there anything else that maybe we didn't touch on that you'd just like to hit for our viewers to be aware of that maybe is going on right now?
Well, While there's 29 of us, we do a lot of things to help the public know. We do advertisement. We go to events, and we will actually do presentations anywhere from an hour to 3 hours in length of time. All of that. Most of our contact is through with individuals and groups. We reached about 3 million people using those kind of avenues, with advertising being our best. We do social media.
Okay.
Follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook, and we do a lot of things where we're out just in the public telling individual organizations. We go to women's groups, we grow groups that service the immigrant communities and others who might have a need to know about the law. But we also do training for employers, for housing providers, and we train state staff on what they have to do to meet the mandates of the law. And we do a lot more training than people know, so we'll do that. Sometimes we do it in concert with other organizations, like other law firms might ask us to come in and help them do training. We just had an employment law seminar where we have 200 people, human resource and attorneys here in Nashville, that came to an event that we sponsored with the Department of Human Resources for the state, where we had 7 individuals, outside counsels, and these are mostly respondent. We had a good mix of both respondent counsel and counsel for complaining parties, that they do this work privately.
I would think it's important. I'm really glad you mentioned that. Not just the employees, but the employers too. I like to think most employers would like to run an office in a good fashion and do it right. But even if they didn't care, the idea of educating your employers or employees is good, because if you can show if a complaint is filed, look. Maybe like Scripps, for instance. I think their heart's in the right place, certainly. But they can also say, if I do something stupid and get a complaint against me, they can say, well, look, we've trained Nick, we've tried, we've done our diligence, we take this seriously, and by doing this, does that in some way help them in the legal issue if the complaint is filed, to show that, look, we're very engaged. We hired this person. We don't know where it came from. We're dealing with him internally, but we've educated, we educate. Does that help? Can that help insulate a business from a lawsuit if they can show that they have been very proactive in trying to educate their employees?
Yes, it can. And then we're also looking to see what else have they done.
Yeah, okay.
And the other piece might be that they've looked at whoever is charged with that particular incident, that they have taken some specific action to work with them. Absolutely. And we've had instances where companies have said, we can no longer have you in our midst because you're creating an environment that's costing us money.
Yeah.
So then at some point you cannot cause confusion in the workplace, whatever that may be, and that some people have actually released individuals, and by the time we've gotten there, they've released them and done certain things.
So the bottom line is, fighting discrimination in the workplace or housing, but especially when regard to business, it's not only the right thing to do, it's good business.
Right. And that's what we tell them. It's good business. It makes sense, and it saves you money.
And a lot of headaches potentially, and I think creates a healthier, happier workplace, don't you think?
It does. And it also, I keep telling folks, businesses are in business to make money. Housing providers are not doing this just to be nice. They're renting and or selling properties so that they can make money. Sure. And so at some point, I guess you would, if I were doing it, I would want to get rid of those things that would prevent me from making money. And then we don't just find things, but we also do settlements. We do mediations. Anywhere throughout the course of our investigations, we try to settle a case. We did $260,000 in settlements to individuals, across the board. And then in housing, we did about $50,000 in settlements, including people being either reinstated to housing or people paying for their moving expenses, things of that sort. So we do that. So that's about $500,000 in the course of an investigation, with mediations, with our conciliations and settlements, where we have actually settled cases before we've gotten to that hearing stage. And sometimes companies come in with lawyers, sometimes they don't, but we have mediators that we firewall around, that we firewall away from the case if it's mediation. If not, the investigator might say, are you willing to settle? And we'll try to settle those issues as well.
I'm just curious as we wrap things up. I know you're a state commission and you're in the Tennessee Tower. Have you ever gotten complaints about the legislature?
No, and we don't have jurisdiction over the legislature.
I was just wondering about that.
No, we don't have jurisdiction of the legislature. They have their own. And most legislatures around the country
is the way it's played out.
Set up, including Congress, because Congress is not subject to Title VII, but they do have some provisions.
The idea is that they self-police, I guess.
Yes.
Is that the fox watching the hen house? All right, listen, real quick, let's throw the phone number up there, and we can throw it up again. I don't know if you have it ready, Rick, but the 800 number, if you want to file a complaint, and we'll get this up again. Oh, thank you. It's right there. 1-800-251-3589. 251-3589. And you can also go to tn.gov/human rights. And that's how you can go ahead and file a complaint. Or go on there and get information about what constitutes a complaint.
A lot of information. Our annual reports are on there. The numbers that I've talked about are on there, so you can find that. Our law and some of our training materials are actually on there as well, so you can access those.
Beverly, I'm really glad you come on. You should come on more often. Just let us know when you'd like to get the word out, because I think education is the key to all of this.
Absolutely.
Let people know about this. Thanks again for coming on. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I'll throw that information up, contact one more time for you right after this. Stay with us.